everyone, welcome back to my channel. You might be wondering why I'm sitting in my car. Well, I'll tell you, I did already record an intro and many other clips for this video, but lucky me, I accidentally recorded them all in slow motion and with no audio. So here we are. If you guys see me in this same outfit, in this same car, a couple different times throughout this video, that's why. But before we go ahead and start yapping about some of the things that I've already yapped about, I'm gonna go get a coffee because I feel like I will need it. So let's go do that first, and then I'll meet you guys back here. We're officially back in the car and I've got my little coffee. So I also realized that I didn't even tell you guys what this video is about, but you guys already know. You saw the title, the thumbnail, all of the above. So I will spare you that knowledge again. I started off this week by, I always want to say reading, which I mean, same, but I actually started off with the audiobook of Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, and this is definitely a new release that I've really been anticipating. However, I waited for some of the reviews to come out before getting my hands on it, just because I'm nosy. I like to see what other people think, and I see some mixed things. Some people love it, other people not so much. And I'll insert a clip right here of one of my reactions near the end of the book. I will tell you guys that it wasn't my favorite book. It really wasn't. It was funny, but not because the book itself was funny. It was funny because it was so ridiculous and goofy that I was laughing at the book. Oh, that's good. So I will give my quick little review about Say You'll Remember Me. I think I ended up rating it 3 stars. And I say this time and time again, but 3 stars to me is still a good book. It's borderline, not a good book, but me, I would still recommend it to people. That's my baseline recommendation is a 3 star. If anything is below that, I probably will not recommend it to anyone. So if you are just wanting, I keep wanting to say a silly goofy time, but this book is actually not a silly goofy time at all. It's actually really, really deep. It has some deeper meanings behind, not meanings, but deeper life events, traumatic things that happen. It could upset you. And I definitely encourage you to check the trigger warnings before you pick up this book. I will say the reason why I wanted to initially say a silly goofy time is, like I said, I found myself laughing at the book a lot. And it's not because it was funny. There were just some things where it was so unrealistic, so would never happen in real life, which in general is totally fine. I am all for an unrealistic, fluffy little romance. I'm all for it. However, in this book, it was half really, really deep, realistic life things, but then the other half, the romance, the interactions, all that was just what? For example, there is a scene where our female main character, what's her name? I'm trying to think back because this was 2 books ago. What is her name? Samantha. Our female main character, Samantha, woke up in the middle of the night and needed to take an Advil, but instead of swallowing an Advil, she swallowed an earbud, listening to music, headphones in, earbud. I don't care how out of it you are. I don't care how sleepy you are. That, you can't tell me that that's ever happened to somebody in real life before. I am not convinced in the slightest. There's no way. And so that being thrown in there, it made no sense. Why put that in there? Because it literally has nothing to do with anything. She doesn't even end up going to the doctor. She doesn't mention the potential health complications of swallowing an electronic device. It just is never mentioned again, which I mean, honestly, good, because what the heck, that doesn't happen. But also, like, what was the purpose of having that in the book? So things like that just disconnected me big time from the actual realistic things. You can't be super, super deep and emotional and real, but then turn around and do silly, goofy things like that don't make any freaking sense and don't belong in a book like that. Does that make sense? Are we on the same page, or am I just ranting here? Because if I'm ranting, you know what? That's totally fine too. I love a good rant. But overall, 3 stars. I still had fun reading it, again, because I was laughing at it. It was just goofy and stupid, but I still enjoyed it, if that makes sense. So there's my review of Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Are you gonna read a book in the car? You are? Love. I started on our road trip The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I am actually now almost done with it. I think I'm like within the last 100 pages, if not about to be within the last 100 pages. You guys, this book, I have not read a Jessa Hastings book yet. I have not read any of the Magnolia Parks, or, I mean, I don't even know what else she writes other than that, but I haven't read it. So I didn't know what to expect. All I knew was that there were a lot of people rating it very highly. I will say that this book is so good. I'm obsessed. I am so obsessed with this book. I read the summary before I started it because I don't like going into books completely blind. I need to know kind of like what the vibe is. What are we getting at? Because I'm a mood reader, and if I'm not in the mood for something, I'm not gonna pick it up. I don't want to pick up something when I could very well just like not be in the mood for it, and then I won't do the book justice. Anyways, this coffee's got me rambling already. Holy cow. So I had expectations going into this, but they are blowing me out of the water. Like, so far, the first half of the book, if I'm looking all types of places, I'm recording on my phone right now, my camera's at home, and I keep looking at myself, but then I know the camera lens is right there. So I don't know where to look because I can't see the dot that is my camera lens. Anyways, aside from the point, the first half of the book is very much focused on building up the romance. Then the second half of the book is where almost like a mystery. This is like a romance, it's a mystery, it's got family drama, it's got trauma, it reminds me kind of how The Unmaking of June Farrow was. Not in terms of the plot, but in terms of it being a little bit genre bending. This is a romance, it's a drama, it's got a mystery. It's all of them in one book, and it is done so well. So well. I don't know if all Jessa Hastings books are like this, or, I mean, she's very poetic with her writing, but it's easy to understand. She has some really, like, I don't want to say strange references, but just the things that she like refers other things to or as compares. I'm not making any sense, and I honestly don't know how to explain it. Anyways, I am just having a heck of a time. I'm dreading it being over. Like, I wish that this book was like, I don't know, an extra 100 pages. I don't know. I just don't want it to be done. Since that trip, I've only been reading like a couple chapters a day because, like I said, I just don't want to be done with it. And I feel like binging that much in one day kind of, I didn't want this book to be one of those books that I finish in a day or two. I genuinely want to take my time with it because I'm having such a good time with it. So that's what I'm doing. But I think within the next day or so, I will finish it because I am itching to see how this all wraps up. I am going to finish my coffee and go back home. It is an absolutely beautiful day outside today. So I'm probably going to play outside with my kids until the sun quits shining. And I will catch up with you guys later. It's the season of the stick, in the fights and I'm falling hard. Small brighter than the markets all down in. Got butterflies in my stomach and be. Again, I don't know how long it's been since we've chatted. It could have been a minute ago. It could have also been 10 minutes ago. I really hope that the sound of my car isn't like jarring. I will do my best to like fix the audio if it is a problem, but it is like 80 degrees outside today and it's hot and I'm sitting in my car in the sunshine. So I have to have my AC on. I'm sorry, but like it's hot. So the conditions of will, you guys, this is so hard recording like after the fact and not exactly knowing what all clips are gone and what I've lost. So I will start with what the conditions of will even is about. I just might pull up like a summary on my phone simply because I'm notorious for doing like book summaries off the top of my head and injustice, and I don't want to do that. So let's pull up the synopsis or summary of the conditions of will. Okay. London-based Georgia Carter, professional lie detector and body language savant, has long been estranged from her infuriating, close-minded, wealthy South Carolina family. So her family is very religious, very conscious about the way that their family comes off to the public and to their friends. They are like the type of family that really needs to put on a good face no matter what is going on behind the scenes. They also are very rich. They have plenty of money. So that's kind of the environment that we're in here. After a falling out years ago, the chasm, I don't know what that word means, but we'll roll with it. The chasm runs deep between the black sheep, Georgia, and her gay alcoholic brother, and their parents and elder siblings. When their father dies suddenly, Georgia returns to the States for the funeral, where she comes face to face with Sam Penny, her brother's AA sponsor. In steps the romance. Amid the tensions, dramas, and revelations of the family reunion, Georgia and Sam are instantly drawn to each other. However, Georgia's brother also harbors feelings for Sam, and the last thing Georgia wants to do is hurt the only family she's ever really had. When their father's will reveals a surprising bequest to a mysterious stranger, Georgia's ability to read people becomes crucial in unraveling her father's hidden path. The delicate balance between the family teeters and secrets, both old and new, threaten to push them beyond the breaking point. There are so many cracks a damaged family can take before it shatters. So now that has kind of jogged my memory a little bit, not that I forgot about the book, obviously not. That book I think is living in the back of my head and is due for a reread at some point in my future. Like I said, our female main character, her name is Georgia, and her family dynamic is that there's two older siblings, Tenny and Marianne. Those two siblings are like loved by their parents. They are the perfect children, the ones that they just absolutely adore and love. Then there's the two younger siblings, which is Georgia and Oliver. Georgia is the youngest, but they are basically the outcasts, the ones that their parents kind of despised. More so Oliver, simply because he is gay, but then they despise Georgia because she always was Oliver's best friend. She supported him, she stood by his side no matter what. And then something happens in their like teenage years where then their parents have another reason to hate Georgia and they send her off to live overseas. She kind of gets distance from her family for years and years and years. They don't fully cut ties, but they kind of do, until again her father passes away and she has to come home, and that is where the story unravels. This book, you guys, I rated it 5 stars. It was an easy 5 stars. I knew it was going to be a 5-star book by the time I got like halfway through. The romance is phenomenal. Sam Penny, you guys, I love Sam. Her family drama. I must have a thing for like drama in books because my favorite series of all time to this day is The Boys of Tommen. That whole series is just drama. And now here we are with The Conditions of Will, where it is based around family drama, and I ate it up. Pour me a whole bowl of a book with a lot of drama and I will go to town. So easy 5 stars, definitely going to be something I reread in the future. We're just having another little car chat. This is, I guess, the week for little chatty car catch-ups. That sounds like a chatty car catch-ups? Catch-up? Sounds like I'm saying catch-up. First off, coffee. It is so insanely good. It's, you know, I don't even know what it is, but it's called the Honeybee, and it's basically just coffee or espresso, milk and honey, but it's really good. Second thing to note is look at how cute this little book, what are they called? Book sleeves. This cute little book sleeve that I just got in the mail today. I got it off Etsy. Inside here is the book that we have been reading lately, and I honestly don't know how much I've even filmed of myself reading Great Big Beautiful Life, but I've been reading it and we are just about done with it. Oh my gosh, I was gonna give you my thoughts and I just realized that I have not even told you guys what this book is about. I'm sure most of you guys already know what this book is about because 1, it's Emily Henry, and 2, it just came out. People have been talking about this book all over the place. But for the off chance that you aren't sure what Great Big Beautiful Life is about, I will tell you briefly. So we have our 2 writers. Our female main character, her name is, what the heck is her name? Oh my god. You guys, I swear, maybe I'm just off. Hello? Basically, the plot is we have these 2 writers, journalists, authors, whatever you want to call them, and they are basically both after the same job. They are both wanting to write this story about a older lady. Her name is Margaret. The reason why they want to write her story is because she is from like this notorious family. They're called the Ives family. Paparazzi follows them everywhere. She is like the outgoing, bubbly one who just like everyone focuses in on her. She eventually kind of disappears or goes into hiding, and that is why her story becomes so interesting because she is ready to tell her truth, her side of the story as to what exactly happened, why there are 2 sides of the story. I'm almost finished with this book and I don't know. But anyways, so Alice and Hayden, which is the other writer, are both competing to be able to write her story. Margaret gives them about a month to kind of win her trust, win her over, and then kind of pitch themselves to see who she wants to choose to be able to write her book. And that's basically all you need to know. From there, I will give you guys my thoughts so far. I will start off positive. I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying myself. However, I'm struggling to see that this is all one collective story. In my head, this book is 2 separate books. This book is half the romance between Alice and Hayden. The other half is Margaret's story. And I don't think that Emily Henry is doing that great of a job at merging the 2 to make it all feel like it goes well together. And I will still say, like, the writing is beautiful. There are quotes in here that I absolutely love. I've taken screenshots, or not screenshots, but like pictures. I'm not annotating or tabbing anything. There are definitely quotes that I think are absolutely beautiful in here. The writing is easy to understand. I just feel like I'm reading 2 separate stories just within the same book. And I'm hoping that as we get to the end of the story, that it all kind of full circles and comes together together a little bit better, but I just genuinely don't see how that will happen. I'm hopeful, but I just don't see it happening. Also, my biggest takeaway that makes me not enjoy this book as much as I would like to is in Margaret's story. There's so many people and so many generations that you are supposed to keep like track of, and it gets confusing. It gets hard to follow. I had to Google like a family tree to try and remember, like, this person is her great-great-grandfather and this person is not a family member, but like this person is her aunt's daughter. And like, it just, if I get really confused as to who is who and I have to remember, like go back and try to remember who they are in the middle of learning something about them, it's just hard. It's hard to be emotionally consumed by the story that they're telling when you don't even remember who it's about, if that makes sense. So that's my biggest thing. And that could just be a me problem. I've always been really bad at names. I have trouble with names in like all books. If there are too many characters, especially thrown at me in a quick span of time, I struggle to remember them. And this book is just kind of another example of that happening. So that, I think, probably is my biggest problem. Second to the fact that I feel like it's just two separate books. I don't see how they go together, other than the fact that they're competing for the same story. But whenever they're working on the story and learning about Margaret and her life, they're not even doing it together. They're doing it separate so that they don't interfere with each other's like writing process, which makes sense. I do understand why they're doing that, but for the sake of the story, it just makes it feel that much more of a separated experience. So that's kind of my thoughts. I'm really hoping that I can get this finished today, but I have class in like an hour and I don't know how much time I'll end up being able to read later tonight, but I really want to get this over with. I know it sounds bad, but I'm ready to be done with it. I'm kind of over it. Like, I need to know what happens. I want to wrap it up. I'm still interested to see how this plays out, but I'm just kind of like over it. I want to be done and move on to something else. It is way later. Hi, hello. So out of all the clips that I accidentally recorded in slow motion, I realized that I also never finished giving my rating, review, final thoughts of Great Big Beautiful Life. Even still looking back on it, I still have just some mixed feelings. I loved it, but I also was definitely left wanting more. We'll start right off the bat with just the rating that I gave it. I think we're sitting at like a 3.75 for Great Big Beautiful Life. And even that, I don't know. It's one of those books where I'm teetering on like it was good, but it wasn't great, but it had the potential to be great. Like, I loved the premise of this book. I mean, a notorious family. We have so much opportunity for drama, and then the romance and the competitiveness of it, and just the mystery aspect of trying to figure out what was going on with Margaret's life, what was her side of the story. And I just think that the execution of it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. And the final wrap up, so how this all concluded, felt rushed, and the like quote unquote like final twist of the book, my reaction to it, literally I think my words were okay. And I was kind of okay. Like, that's where my mind was at. I wasn't shocked. It let me down a little bit, and I just expected more. So we'll start off with the romance aspect of it. If you guys hear that, there's birds bickering outside at my bird feeder. So the romance. I did really like the romance, but I also, again, felt that it went flat, you know? They went from Alice was really bubbly and perky, and Hayden was more like grumpy, and he was annoyed with her like bubbly positivity, and she just like didn't give up on him in a sense. Like, she just kept pushing for them to like converse, and eventually out of nowhere they went from having that type of relationship to then they like just out of nowhere, next thing you know, they're making out. And I'm like, where did this come from? But then from there, like all of a sudden they were just like, they were head over heels for each other. And I just didn't, like, where was the tension? Where was the Emily Henry banter that we all know and love? It was like slow burn until out of nowhere, like we skipped the simmering. We skipped the tension and we just jumped to love you. Like, where did that come from? And granted, like, I still liked it, I enjoyed it, but where was the detail? Where was the longing? Where was the depth? Like, I just felt like that part lacked what we typically get from an Emily Henry book. And I know that everyone says this is more fiction, like literary fiction-esque, than it is romance. And I totally get that. But that doesn't always mean that we need to skip over that lusty buildup in a romance, if that makes sense, especially when it's Emily Henry. In the end, we're left with this, like, this epilogue that felt so unnecessary. Like, that didn't help the storyline at all. Like, where did that come from? Why we jump to that? That's where we go? Like, it has nothing to do with this. I mean, it does, obviously, because it's the characters, but like, we didn't need that. And I'm a sucker for an epilogue. I always want to know, like, where they are today kind of thing. But with it wrapped up so fast, and then they throw that type of epilogue in there, I was like, woo, 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 woo. Like, huh? Anyways, moving over to Margaret's story. So this is where, again, I was left wanting more. She was this big socialite, huge famous family, always in the tabloids, drama, blah, 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 blah. But where was the drama? Like, yeah, she had some oh, wow, I can't talk. She had some things go on in her life, but to me, like, I don't see where, like, quote unquote, she needed to tell her truth, tell her side of the story. It was almost like everything that the public viewed of her family was pretty much the truth. She just gave a little bit more detail behind it. Like, there was no big drama that I expected when you think you're reading a story about someone who's like, I need to get my truth out there. I went off the grid. I disappeared from the face of the media, and now I want to come up and tell my truth. Like, you're expecting this big story, and it just wasn't that big of a story. Like, I expected more. I just did. I had really high hopes for this book because I loved the premise of it, but it just left me wanting more. I think that honestly, this book, I don't know. I'm not going to say much else about it, or else I'll just go on forever. So, final rating, 3.75 stars. I really liked it. It was a good book, not my favorite, but since we're on the topic of Emily Henry, and I've been seeing so many other people do this in their... Yes, I am gonna rank my Emily Henry books. I'm gonna do it. So I have all of Emily Henry books sitting right here in front of me, all but one, and you'll quickly learn why I have all but one. So I will start from least favorite to most favorite. So starting at the bottom is the one Emily Henry book that I don't own a physical copy of because I just don't care to. I really did not enjoy it at all. But at the bottom we have The People We Meet on Vacation. I know. I don't know. I guess a lot of people, it's common for that to be their least favorite, but I also see some people rank it as their absolute most favorite. And I love that everybody has their own opinion. Totally all for it. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean that you shouldn't like it either. Like, I love that the book world, everyone is like not afraid to share their own opinions, and I think that's phenomenal. However, The People We Meet on Vacation, it was just my least favorite. Maybe I'm not a friends to lovers kind of gal. Maybe I'm just not. I don't know. I think that's probably the only friends to lovers I've ever read. Maybe. Anyways, so at the bottom, The People We Meet on Vacation. Second to last, we have Book Lovers, and I can't remember exactly what it was about this one that just like wasn't my favorite. I did really like it though, but it just like, I don't know. I don't think anything about this one really stood out to me. I don't think it really spoke to me. It didn't hit any emotional part of me like some of Emily Henry's other books did. There's a train. In terms of my physical stack, Book Lovers is at the bottom. Moving on, this is where I'm contemplating. I think above Book Lovers, we are gonna have to put Great Big Beautiful Life. And it does kind of pain me a little bit to put this here because I did really enjoy it, but I just saw too many, I don't want to say too many flaws, but I personally just had too many things that I would change about this book for it to be above some of Emily Henry's others. So coming above Great Big Beautiful Life, I am gonna put Happy Place. I just recently read Happy Place. If you guys go back on my channel, I have this in a vlog. I don't remember what video it is. I'll link it up here somewhere, but I did recently read Happy Place for the first time. I did really like it. This was way more emotional than I expected it to be. Did I cry? Yes I did. Was this book a happy place? No, I was actually pretty sad throughout most of the book. But did I love it? Yeah, yes I did. I absolutely loved it. She has so many relatable characters in Happy Place and just so many people from different walks of life and found family, and I just loved it. I ate it up. It was great. However, not my absolute favorite. Next, we have Funny Story. I see this be like a top 3 Emily Henry book for most people, if not top 2. For me, this is number 2. Loved it. I actually really want to reread this sometime soon, but I am also really wanting to reread our number 1 spot, and that is Beach Read. Beach Read takes the cake for my favorite Emily Henry book at the moment. I do really want to reread both Funny Story and Beach Read because it's been a while since I've read them, and I would love to refresh my memory. I mean, heck, even a couple like days ago I was thinking and I couldn't remember like the main characters' names. I had to like seriously sit and dwell on it to remember like what happened. And I'll be honest, I can't remember the ending of Beach Read. So maybe we'll do an Emily Henry reread soon. Maybe it'll be like a summer thing, like a sit by the pool summer type of vlog where we can just reminisce on some Emily Henry. But anyways, I will quit yapping your ear off. So our final Emily Henry personal, in my opinion, ranking is Beach Read in first, Funny Story, Happy Place, Great Big Beautiful Life, Book Lovers, and then not pictured is The People We Meet on Vacation. So that wraps that up, and that is all I have for you guys for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. We read some pretty good books. I'm actually really happy with how all of these books turned out. Were they 5 stars? One of them was. The other 2, they were still a really good time, and that's all I got for you guys. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!